Sounds good. Yeah, well, thanks so much for doing this, Alex. Would love if you could just start off with a brief intro, including like your name, like your company, what your role is at the company, and then yeah, like a brief overview of what you do.
Yeah, sure. Like I'm Alex, and I'm a co-founder of Rena Labs, and we are doing data privacy infrastructures. And right now, we are kind of cooking a new AI proactive agent based on the infrastructures to enable everyone. You can use the agent to handle your follow-up needs, your outbound, inbound needs without violating your privacy.
Okay, got it. Cool. So you said that you create this is like a lab, so you create multiple products. Cool. What are some examples of like other types of products that you guys have built out?
Yeah, because the first product we are building is infrastructures. So it's like a middleware to enable anyone you can share your private data to another one. And based on these infrastructures, we work with many financial institutions, help them share their trading order books to their clients, to their investors. And for that product, it's only B2B. But based on
Mhm.
that, we also think we should expand in retails for also. That's why we have our second product, which is the AI agent, to embed with the same privacy stack, but enable anyone they can use this, agent handle their daily task, not just for the institutions, but for their if they are BD, they are marketer, or they are like ops, they have a lot of like meetings, and then they can just use agent to summarize their meetings and also give the action items. And then in the same time, they have to connect with their social medias like their linking, email, Calendly, whatever, and they use the same infrastructures to make sure that no one can see their private data, but the agent can still use it. So that's why we have different products, but based on the same infrastructures with the data privacy.
Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so privacy seems to be like the key thing to highlight here. So, yeah, I know that everything related to like note taking and AI is definitely like very prevalent and also like a pretty competitive space. There's a lot of pretty strong established companies out there. How do you guys differentiate yourself among them?
To be honest, I think note taker is like a pain in the ass for a long time. Like in the past 20 years, so many great companies building on it. I really like Corona, for example. They did a really good
Hmm.
good job in the note
Me
taking.
too.
But I would say we did two more steps than the normal note taking, even for Granona. The first step is we don't give you just the summaries. We give you the action items, which is the to-do list. Because usually when we have the meetings, you won't review the summary all the time. What we should do is what you should do after the meeting. Follow with your clients or get a proposal to, follow with them or even do some outbound or even do some inbound requests, right? That's what we should do after the meeting. Besides of that, we think human beings are really good at reviews, but not good at the execution. That's why we dedicate this kind of work to the agent. So the agent not just give you something you should do. The agent just give you the answers you should review. And after you give the consent, the agent will just help you do the, you know, follow up. We also provide you the proposal you need or even give you some new leads on your social medias. That's why we are very different from other passive note taker. I think we are pretty active and proactive.
Hmm. Nice, nice. That sounds amazing. You know, my role, like obviously at the Founders Club, I'm the chief of staff, and I always take a ton of meetings and have a ton of to-do lists, and things can be kind of scattered. So I definitely see how that could be like so helpful for any kind of operator in any kind of role. I'd love to hear some more about like what the platform looks like though. So I'm imagining it. Is it like kind of granola style where like you start the meeting and you like turn it on and then it do all these tasks and projects like do they exist within the platform or does it like connect to a Notion or like a preferred platform or something like that?
I would say the UI is very different from Ganona. It's more like Codex or Cloud because when you download the app, of course we will ask you to connect with your Calendly, and then when the notification is coming out, like we say you have a upcoming meeting, we will like pump up a notification to invite you to join the meeting. After that, it will auto end, but the magic begins after the meeting. So after the meeting, the agent Alice it will give you the to-do list you have, like the codex, like it will have different tasks. And then it will running by itself. After they finish the task, it will pop up the new notification for you. You can review. and then you can decide if you want to send it or not. And that's the UI, UX, I would say. Yeah.
Nice, cool. Does this integrate with teams, or is it just like an individual person? You have your own like notes and
Oh,
tasks?
actually, it's a team because we're building on this. The infrastructure level we built on for the past 2 years, and after we got like around 1 million ARR for our infrastructures, we decide to expand in the retail side because we think the agent is a really, really huge opportunities we can't miss. That's why we started working on this new product. I would say 3 months ago. At that time, proactivity is really popular among the SF and also New York. That's why for myself, because I have so many meetings every week, like around more than 30 or even 40. So I just designed for myself to use it. And then my co think, okay, it seems like not just you, because there's so many people, they're not they are a little bit non-technical, or they are like purely BD or sales. They don't know how to build up their own pipeline. What about we build a product to, cover their needs? That's the drive why we have this new product. And also until now, we already got more than 300, beta test users because we didn't do public launch. We probably will do it in next month. Yeah.
Nice, exciting. Yeah. And I love to hear what you said about like kind of just designing the product for yourself. So, you're a founder. It's probably very easy to sell to other founders and operators and small teams. But I'd love to hear some more about, the early days talking with like the customers. And you mentioned you're doing like beta users right now. How did you get these customers? How'd you get in touch with these people?
Oh, it's really funny. Every day you will receive a lot of, like outbounds, requests from the email, from LinkedIn, or from whatever social media you're using. And every time when I saw them to send me some messages, I would think about how do they find me or what kind of messages they're drafting. And then I've realized, what about we can have some agent to do it for myself, but it's not as silly because sometimes they even make some mistakes about my name or even my, like my company. So I want to do something different or even customized for different profiles. That's how, like it drives me to think about it. And also every day when I have 10 meetings a day and I have to do all the after meeting tasks, each one maybe only in 10 minutes. But imagine if you have 10 meetings, it will take you 1 hour or even 2 hours if it's very heavy. So that drives me to have this needs and discuss about how to do the pipeline to automate all the works. That's how we like to pitch some people who pitched me before. And then they say, oh, this is interesting. I'd love to give it a try. And then we did some demo and they just find someone. I don't even know them at all. And then they feel like, oh my God, this is amazing. I would definitely be using, use you guys. That's how we got the first, users we have. And after that, of course, because I'm a founder, so I know so many BDs, sales or marketing I know before. I just send to them. So very luckily, we already got one B2B unicorn who promised to use us. Because for this product, agent product, the problem is if you want to build on B2B, usually they can't just download something they don't know, especially for startup. So you have to talk to one of the heads or one of the BD lead, and they request, say, we need this product. Then it can increase our efficiency. Then we can use it. So we pitch them around 4 times, and eventually they whitelist us. And so right now, all their BDs, they have around 50 BDs, and all of them using us. So that's really great, progress for us. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Exciting stuff. Yeah, sounds like there are a lot of different avenues for finding those customers. And so remind me, so are these beta users? Are these people who are like providing direct feedback on the product, or are these people who are out using the product now, or?
Yeah. All of them are still using the product now because we still need them give us a lot of feedbacks. But I would say right now the current product is ready to go, but we still need to add some new automations or we even support more versions because right now it only supports the Mac users. But we believe that web version and also mobile version can also work very, great to onboard more, different customers because some of them have the meeting in person or some of them, they don't use Mac, they use Windows. That's why we want to have more versions and then we can launch in August. Yeah.
Yeah, that's important stuff. Yeah, and I'm sure you've learned so much like through the feedback and things like that can be so important too, just like the type of computer someone's using. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to hear some more about, I guess, just like how things have changed. Like maybe looking back, is there anything you wish you would have known or like done differently? Any hard lessons you had to learn?
I would say if I travel back to the time I started my company, I would say do the KOL. Because at the time, I happened to have some, articles I published and it was really, really popular. I got more than 1 million views. But at that time, I told myself, oh, I'm a founder, so I should only focus on the product. I should only focus on the things I'm building, right? But turns out with I didn't realize that AI can be so powerful that engineer work is not a barrier anymore, to be honest. I would say how to find your customers, how to convince them. So you need a lot of distribution channels. So if you as a founder, you are KOL by yourself, the founder lead marketing is the most effective way or the most cheap way to promote your product. If you have some great ideas you want to share. So I would say, don't lose your chance to be a KOL. You should just keep going on and post more videos and do some contents, right? But at that time, I only focus on the B2B and also B2B, the products. So I'm building on the infrastructures. We don't do any posting in LinkedIn or even in Twitter. So I would say that's the biggest like miss for myself. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a huge lesson in there. And I feel like that's something we see with pretty much every founder these days. I mean, it's kind of like you see so many different sides of it. You scroll through LinkedIn, so much of it is just like AI slop and just there's just so much content. It's kind of hard differentiating yourself. So I guess I'd love to hear from you. How do you approach that? How do you differentiate yourself in a sea of content always being produced?
I would say I'm more like vibing because I don't like I don't like most founders. They only talk about, especially for ASF founders. I would say every time when I meet them, they only talk about, oh, what's the ARR of our product? Oh, what I'm building recently, but they never talk about themselves. They never talk about their life, what's they like, what's their personality. But I prefer to talk about some random questions, but it's very meaningful as a founder or just as a pure tech person. You have to care about how do you balance your life with your work, or how do you find your co-founder, something like that. I would like to talk about this general questions. I would say this kind of questions is easier for me to find the echo from others, not to just talk about yourself or your product all the time, because nobody wants to listen to your blah 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 all the time. They want to know something funny part of yourself. That's how I think I learned when I do my own content, because I try to cook, some contents by myself right now, and I received some views, like around 2K, 3K views for real. That's good start. But I would say most people, they don't care about what I'm building. They care more about, oh, this one seems like funny. We should follow him about his opinions, not about their work. Yeah.
He's a good vibe. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's also an important lesson there too. It's like people want to work with people they like. So that is so valuable. So when you say like you like sharing stuff about your vibe and like your personality, what kind of content is that? Like you mentioned one post like going super viral. What kind of stuff has worked for you?
For example, I discussed about, okay, as a, when I first started my company, actually I started from the UK, and then right now I relocated in US. But actually, I never studied or I never lived in UK and the US before. So basically, I start from 0 to 1. Like I don't know anyone there, like in both countries. So every time when I meet someone, they say, "Oh, where do you live?" I say, "I used to live in China and then moved to UK. Spent 4 years there, and right now I'm living in US." They will ask, "Oh, you studied in UK before?" And I said, "No, I just had my startup there." So I just share something very unique and different, and people will realize, "Oh, that's kind of like different," because I never met someone like me. Or I will share some opinions like, what would you like to do, if you have, something you don't know. For example, how many people you need if you want to build a new startup. So most people will say, oh, if you raised 100 mil, or if you raised 200 mil, if you raise how many mils, and then you should hire as many as possible and move fast, blah, blah, blah. But I will tell them, why should I hire so many people? I prefer to work as a big team, like 5 people or even 6 people. Because even when I work in a big corporation, when I first graduated, I joined investment banking. Even it's like big team, but in each team, when we handle one IPO, one M&A, only 3 or 4 people, and everyone just work more than 100 hours, and then you have to handle your job by yourself. Nobody can help you. And I prefer to bring this culture into my startup so it will decrease the communication cost. And I will battle with other founders who have different opinions about it. Ask them, okay, tell me how many hours you spend on your products and how long you take you to do an update. We update our product every day, like basically every day. But how long it will take you if you have 20 people team or if you have 30 people team? So kind of the shit like I talk about in the social media. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Company culture, company values. So what's your team look like right now? Like how many of y'all are
Oh,
there?
right now we only have 7 people. Yeah, because thanks to AI, we don't need to hire that many senior people. We only need one senior people with different, young people. Like average age in our team is only I think 23 to be honest. Because most of them they just
Okay.
graduate or they. I think we prefer to hire someone very young. They join our team as an intern, and then we convert them into the full time. That's the easiest way, and also, they're really really hardworking compared to the senior engineers from Meta, from Google. We used to hire them before, to be honest. But after talking to them or working with them maybe with several months, I don't think they fit in our culture or they fit in the product itself. Because right now we don't need someone who has experience before. We need someone who is very smart. They know how to solve some problems they never made before. I would say that's why young people stand out, not the senior people.
Okay, so that's by choice. So you're choosing to work with 23-year-olds. Can I ask how old are you?
I'm just turning 26 just the last month. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You are
Happy
so young.
late birthday.
You're so
I
young to be
think
on your second company already. It's crazy. It's incredible.
yeah, because when I started my first company, I was only 21. So
Okay.
yeah, that's why
That's a
I think that's
flex.
also the culture why in my team I prefer to hire someone like younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if I'm
'Cause that was
only
you. Yeah.
40, sometimes I feel like it's really hard to communicate with them. But if I'm
No,
young enough, and
nothing
then
wrong with being 40. All right. Okay.
Yeah,
no,
you're
I'm
looking at
saying
a
it's just
40-year-old
different.
right now.
It's just different time. Like I don't say that if you're 40, you should not start your own company. I mean, you have different preference, or if it's different, you know, just different styles. I would say. For example, if you're 40, sometimes you will say, I have to I have to, hang out with my girlfriend, hang out with my wife. I have to babysit my kids. But in our team, like I will say, oh, let's just do the Friday night as cooking. And then we just gather people together and we just we work together for the whole night to publish a new version. But imagine if your team are full of the 30s or 40s. I think it's not reasonable to ask your teammates to do that because they also have their family, they have their life. It's not reasonable to ask them to do that all the time. But that's kind of I would say, privilege as a younger founder. Yeah.
This is such a funny take. And yeah, no, I mean, I hear you. Like when I was in college, I was pulling all-nighters, drinking all this caffeine, and it's funny. I say this as a 26-year-old. I'm the same age as you. I'm not not any older or something. But I think this would actually be a great time to like transition more into like you as a founder and how you operate. So yeah, it sounds like you have a pretty intense team culture and that works really well. You like working with young people. How do you balance everything? Like, how do you keep your energy levels up? How do you stay sane? How does that look for you?
I would say, like personally, I don't feel tired and anxiety at all because that's my personality. So I always like high energy people. That's why I think I'm very good at, like as a founder. But my co-founder, he's like totally opposite with me. He talks to someone for like 2 hours. He needs another 2 hours to settle down, like to calm down himself and to regain the energies. So
Need to take a
that's
beat.
yeah. That's why internally in our team, I would say we have a really great balance. Because sometimes if you feel tired, you talk to me. I would say, oh, I will cheer you up. But if you need someone to say, I'm really really tired. I really need to take a rest. And my co-founder will tell them, oh, I feel you. I totally, because I have the same feeling like you. So I
Yeah.
would say that's a really great, great team.
Yeah, balance is important, honestly. It sounds like you guys complement each other in great ways. So I love that. So if you don't have issues with like being tired or stress, I don't even know what the question I'm trying to ask is necessarily. Like, do you feel the need to like have certain routines or like a sleep schedule or how does that look for you?
I don't have a like very tight like sleeping schedule because sometimes I have to work with my SF engineers. So it's very normal for me to work like until 4 to 5 a.m. But because I usually will block all my mornings, so I don't need to get up so early. That's good for me. But I do have a habit to help me to release my pressure, I would say, to some degrees. So every time when I have call, like the stand up with my co-founder, I will choose to running around like 30 minutes in the gym. Because sometimes my co-founder will say, Alex, do you know sometimes you feel really angry? I don't know why you're shouting at me. And that's why I use this way to make myself feel really tired physically. So I don't will raise my voice when I talk to my co-founder, and then he will feel like, oh, you're really angry with what I'm building, what I'm talking about, and it's really good for both of us to talk about the things reasonably and move the things faster. Yeah.
Wow, this is so interesting. So, a lot of people, they have the issue of like being too tired. If you're working founder life, like 60, 80 plus hours a week, a lot of people struggle with feeling too tired and being low energy. It sounds like you kind of have the opposite problem, like maybe being a little bit too high energy, maybe coming across a bit angry. Um, does that sound right? Is that like the issue that you find yourself having?
I will also feel tired to be honest, but the
Okay.
way is a little bit different because I can feel I can add on my energy when I'm talking to someone new. So that's how I combine my work with my layer very, great. Because when I feel tired, sometimes I feel, oh, it's so boring to build on some products I already know, or just do some QA tasks with my product. So I would choose to talk to someone I never know them before. I would connect someone in LinkedIn or just around some communities. I would say, oh, who would love to grab a drink or grab a coffee and talk about something you are building? And then I can learn something new that gives me more energies, and I feel like, oh, this is so interesting. I feel so excited to try something new. That's why I can always to feel and again like energetic and to work on my own stuffs, not just to always focus on my product but also learn from others.
Well, I love that. It sounds like you're very cut out for the kind of work that you do. This is all very like CEO coded. Yeah, it must be so helpful that you get energy from all these types of interactions. Um, cool. Okay. Also, it sounds like you're kind of built different. It's a great thing. So let me think. What else? I guess kind of moving on. You kind of talk about yourself like being very high energy, getting a lot of energy from the people that you talk to, and meeting new people. What is something that you would say people would be really surprised to learn about you?
mm, I would say a lot of people think, okay, I'm really passionate and also energetic. Maybe I really like to, hang out with a lot of people. But actually, I always I prefer to meet people like, under 4 or under 5. Because sometimes when you always go out with a bunch of people, like more than 5 or more than like even 10, it's really hard to get a deep conversation. I prefer to get a deep conversation maybe for 1 to 2 hours rather than just a short around. I'll say hello to everyone by 10 minutes and then understand they add their LinkedIn, add their WhatsApp, and then circle back to them. I prefer to focus on 1 or 2 person in each like events I went, and then get to know what they're really building on and ask them questions. Not about like pitch them about my idea, because I really like to learn something new every time when I go out, and then it can give me like something I really like, something I want to enjoy. Yeah, and also that's reflect to my personal life. I prefer to travel alone, to be honest, because I don't like to travel with my don't like. I should not use don't like. I should like. I prefer to travel alone because I really like to don't have any schedules and just book ticket to somewhere I never been to, and then just walk around and check the ask my GPT to give me the plan like immediately, and then stick to the plan by that time. I never make the plan in advance. That will give me something I don't like. Like I give me the feeling like, oh, I have to follow this routine and step by step. I don't like that way. I prefer to do something randomly. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Traveling alone. That's very exciting. Um,
Alex, I'm curious. You said your co-founder and you are totally different. You're very high energy. It sounds like you love acting spontaneously. Your co-founder, it sounds like it's a little bit lower energy, maybe introverted. He's a CTO, so I'm assuming very detail oriented. How do you guys avoid conflict? How do you make it so that you stay on the same page, even though internally you might like to operate differently?
Mm, I would say that depends on our, like our role and also our, the parts we handle in in our startup. So, because he's very introverted and he doesn't like to talk to people, but he still needs to get the feedback from the users, from VC or from our partners. So he will also handle some talks or some, communications, but he will have the final say when we have some findings toward, okay, what's our next updating? What's our next version, the function we should, prioritize, right? This kind of functions, I will always listen to him, even though I don't agree with him. But I will say, okay, you have final say. Even though I think, okay, we should have this
I see.
function first, but if he insists, I would say yes. And for the, maybe for the, fundraising speed or for talking to some partners or to onboard some new customers, if I say this client is really, really important, we have to prioritize his needs in front of any of other clients. And then he will say, okay, let's pause a little bit toward other updating and follow up this client's needs first to win this client. So that's why we have different say in different parts. For marketing, go-to-market, BD side, I have the final say. For the product, for the technology, he has a final say. So that's why we fight each other a lot of times, to be honest. Like every day we have some quarrels. That's why he say, Alex, don't shout at me. I have to. I understand the product better than you. I say, okay, fine. Let's slow down and go back to see what the problem belongs to. Is the technical problem or it's the BD client's problem? And then we will say who has the final say of that problem.
Got it. So you have your own separate responsibilities, even though you discuss and fight on all of the major issues in your own separate responsibilities, different people have final say.
Yes, correct. And in some very important occasions, I would say I prefer to let him to choose because he's more considerate. Like he's very good at thinking, more like much better than me. I'm more good at execution and also find more people we need. That's why I trust him. And because before our startup, actually we did some side project already for 4 times before we officially start our company. That's why we already have some, co-founders, experience, even at the time we're not co-founders. That's why we have the trust base and already working on this project for more than 2 years. So I would say that's the routine. Yeah.
Is he the same co-founder from your first company, or is this a totally separate team?
Oh, actually, it's a totally separate team because my first time, the team already cashed out. So my co-founder at the time, he wants to build on something about robotics. That's why we didn't continue. And this one, because I know him by my first startup, someone mutual, like some investor introduced us together. But at that time, we don't plan to build on something together. At that time, he wants to onboard me as his, clients in his startup at that time. So that's how I know him. But after we chat a lot of times and hang out, we think, okay, it's pretty funny. We should do something together. That's why we cook some side project first. And after 4 side projects, we think maybe we can do something for real. That's how we start.
Nice. Cool. One other thing I was kind of looking forward to hearing from you is just learning more about your experience in New York. I know you mentioned that you lived in London before this and you were in China before that, if that's correct.
Yes,
Are those
correct.
all the places that you've lived? And if so, what led you to sticking in New York specifically?
I would say before I decided to relocate in New York, I already traveled here for more than 10 times, like back and forth from London to New York.
Wow.
I would say New York is really, really amazing because I can meet anyone, basically anyone, not just about the work, but also about my life, like some musicians or some artists, or even I like to play some, poker games, and some poker lives here. And also there's so many different people. I can even post, for example, when I traveling to other cities, like maybe Barcelona, maybe SF, I post in LinkedIn or I post in Twitter. No one will DM me saying, oh, I want to meet you. I think what you're building is really funny. But if I live in New York, even for traveling, I post about it and someone will DM me. I don't know them before. They'll say, oh, you seems like very funny. Let's just meet up. I really, really like this vibe to meet someone new. I totally new. I don't know before. They're really open-minded, and that drives me very, attractive to New York, I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why I love
Yeah.
it, and I think I will stick to New York rather than other cities. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, there's something so special about New York. I think so much of it too is like, all of the walking, like the public transportation. It's so easy to interact with people and like the friction is so low. Do you have any like stories of great interactions you've had or people you've met up with? Sounds like it's something you do a lot and enjoy.
Yeah, I think every week I will meet 5 or 6 people I don't know. I don't even know.
Wow.
And last week I met someone like who is a trader. He used to work in hedge fund, and he went quit his job for 2 years. He didn't work at all in the past 2 years. But then he decided he decided to be a blogger, like an influencer in the in the TikTok. So I really like his videos, and I think he every day he will talk about some new concepts. It's not relevant to his work, not about the trading, but about the daily life, about how to judge others and how to learn from others and how to focus on yourself and live by your own. Even though he has a girlfriend, so it's really really funny. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Um, Mike, do you have any follow-up questions? I think that kind of wraps up all of the stuff we had on the agenda.
Alex, I'm so curious. You're so young, but you've been a founder for a while now. What are you doing differently with your second company that are lessons you learned from your first company?
I would say when I was doing my second company, I it's a time like it's a time like I put myself really in the position as a founder. Because to be honest, when I first started my first company, at the time I was just a newbie as it's like a kid. So even though my role is co-founder, is like a CEO, but I don't realize that this company is rely on me. Like sometimes I will feel, oh, I feel so tired, so I should just have fun. I don't work, and I don't feel that much pressure, especially from my investor, from my teammates, from all my employees. But as my in my second company, I feel like when I do some decisions, I will feel more responsibilities from others. It's like I have to I have to make the decisions fast and accurately if I want to make my startup survive. Not just do something funny and I think, oh, this is only about work. If it doesn't work, it's fine. No, I won't say that. I will feel like there's a burden on my shoulder as a founder, and I definitely will make it. If I don't make it, it's my mistake or it's my responsibilities as a founder. Yeah, so that's very different, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you're just taking it more seriously. You're really stepping into the role as the founder CEO versus the first time around where it was all new to you. You didn't even realize.
Mm, I would say because when you're doing startup, you always meet some hardships or some hard times, right? Nobody is always very great or they always do the awesome works. That's why you have to realize sometimes even if you meet some difficulties, you have to stick to it because not because you think you can make it. It's also because there's so many people they rely on you, and you have to take the example for them. And that's the time can give you more power, more incentives to say, okay, you can do it. Definitely you can do it and stick to it. And then once you really believe in it, I think probably you can make it. Like we say, fake it until you make it. You have to fake it, make your body feel like you can make it, and then you can really make it. Yeah.
Super helpful.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks so much for doing this, Alex. One last question for you. So, again, like this podcast, this spotlight, we'll share it with our newsletter and all of our audience. So, if there's one thing that you would like to ask the audience, if you have any needs right now, we'd love to know how can people help you right now?
I would say right now, I only have one request. So if you have so many meetings and you want to try something new, okay, maybe you can just sign up with Alice because we are going to launch it in next month, and then you can just try it. But right now, if you want to, try it like in advance, you can always find me in LinkedIn or DM me, say, okay, I want to try this. And I will send you a private invite code. That's all. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Cool. And we'll link your LinkedIn and everything as well. Cool. So yeah, thanks again, Alex. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you so much.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.